Hey everyone, you're listening to the Movie Offal podcast with me, Karl, and my good friend...
It's me, Mac.
Me, Mac.
Me, Mac. I'm not even Mac anymore, just me, Mac.
Me, Mac.
Some
Mac,
fucking Klingon language, I don't know what it is.
you're looking beautiful today, but where's your beard?
Oh, I had to shave it off, man.
Huh.
Just had too many lice in it, mate.
Yeah, they are a pain in the ass. You start getting crabs in your fucking beard and stuff. You do have to fucking keep that trim, like, you have to keep that trim.
It was getting too itchy, man. It was just, but especially the moustache. Every time I'd go to have food, I'd just be chewing a mouthful of pubes. It was just face pubes. It was just getting too annoying.
Literally growing pubic hair from your top lip.
Yeah. It's a rare medical condition.
You've got like ball sack skin around your face.
Well, that's what was going to happen if I didn't shave. I would have literally grown 2 ball sacks and eventually a wang. That would be even more awkward when I start eating there. Not only will I get pubes in my mouth, I'll be getting full on wang and balls in my mouth as well.
Be like getting the thickest spaghetti in your mouth forever. Like,
that's it. So yeah, it had to go off, mate.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, I mean, the first show, man, it was a phenomenon, like the hit. You know, everyone was well into that show, the first one that we did. Everyone was fucking loving it. Actually, on YouTube, we got 30 hits on that. We got 30 plays.
30 hits? That's impressive.
Whether the people actually watched the entire thing, I don't know.
Well, I watched it 29 times on YouTube, so...
I gotta be honest, I watched it once. So,
there we go.
There we go. We are fucking huge. We're huge. So, big thanks to everyone that did give our first show a bit of a chance. Me and Mac have never done anything like this before, and we intend on making it worse and worse as time goes on. Just like today, we've decided to drink lots of alcohol. So today's show then, we've got a little bit of chat for me and Mac, see what we've been up to over the past week, or a couple of weeks since we did the last show. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chopping Mall. That was the film that Mac picked for me. Mac's going to talk about Hostel, which is the film that I picked for him. We've got the Offal Question, which will be, it'll be 2 questions. Mac's going to ask me a question, which is for around Chopping Mall. I'm going to ask Mac a question about Hostel, and there's a penalty if you get that question wrong.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it involves a very hot sauce.
So following on from that then, we will be picking the next film for each other to watch. So we'll see which one we're going to be watching ready for the next show. Then we'll be debuting Offal Royale, where we pick a random film. Anyway, Mac, what have you been up to, mate?
Oh, it's been a bit of an eventful week, actually. I did an all-night movie theatre, Goreathon it was called, which was 6 hour films from about 9:30 in the evening till about 7:30 the following morning.
And what were the films, man? Any good ones?
No, it was shit. I gotta be honest. All the previous hour ones, because this is the 3rd one they've done, and the previous 2 all-nighters have been absolutely fantastic. We did actually almost get thrown out of the first hour movie-thon as well.
Okay.
Trying to kidnap customers from the other screen upstairs in the cinema and bring them down into the one downstairs. They frowned upon that. We didn't like that. So we almost got thrown out for that. But we were well behaved other than that. It's just that one kidnapping moment. Other than that, we were great, you know. But it's a shame. The first 2 hour all-night movie-thons, you had films like Burning and Deep, some real good crowd-pleasing films. Yeah. This one is just too obscure. I think the only films which I'd heard of before was Rawhead Rex, which I'm a fan of Clive Barker, but I'm not a fan of that film at all. The other one then was Contamination.
That's an old classic, that, yeah.
But it's just, the aliens are shit in it. They're just, for anyone who hasn't seen it, they're just pods which look like giant ball sacks, and that's the aliens. And they got no arms or legs, just walk out the way, and you're fine.
Isn't it like it's famous because it's like well, just, you know, like the title to our podcast, It's just a load of offal being launched all over the place all the way through the film. That's pretty much what I've heard. I've never actually seen it, but I've heard that it's fucking classic in gore and chunks and stuff.
When special effect gives you well, and they just play it to death, like exploding guts, and they play that to hell. It was one of the video nasties originally on the original video nasty list, and it just shows what a bullshit list some of that was from the original video nasties, because it's a 15 certificate now.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely. And it's great. It's got a great soundtrack. Goblin do a soundtrack, which I think it's always worth checking out a film just for the Goblin soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a great film. It's got its moments, but it's not brilliant. Then on the Sunday, then we did Comic-Con, London Film Comic-Con. I got to meet the Cannibal Holocaust director, Ruggero Deodato, which was pretty sweet. Yeah, but it's going back to last week's. Sorry, Carl.
Did he try eating you?
No, not at all. He was going back to last week's podcast when we were saying about Tony the Pimp, like when he comes across and he's got this really strong Italian accent. Ironically, Deodato's got a really strong pimp accent. Hey, how you doing? He was very quiet. He was, I'm not sure it was a language barrier, but he was very shy, very quiet kind of guy.
Yeah.
It was cool though.
Yeah, no, I'd say he was probably looking around all of the people that were there and probably was seeing them, like in the cartoon where they look like walking hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. And so he is going to be a bit uncomfortable talking to something that's potentially food for him. So
yeah, the trouble is, I'm so fucking hairy. I probably just put him off straight away.
Yeah, I reckon he could pluck you pretty quick.
I'd be a long time plucking you, man. There's a lot to pluck there. It's like fucking Sasquatch, mate.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was quite a cool week, really. Quite eventful.
Yeah. Nice.
What about yourself, man? Been up to much?
Pretty much just pumped in a lot of films this week. Couple of well, what was it? About 5 or 6 films. So I went and watched the old classic Dolls because my daughter is really into horror films now, so she wanted to watch Dolls. So we watched that together, which she really enjoyed. Brilliant film. We followed that up with Dead Silence and just ruined the whole doll horror genre for her then.
Is that the ventriloquist doll one?
Yeah.
About mid-2000s, maybe?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. It was riding off the back of the Saw movie, so I think a couple of people from Saw were behind it. It was a bit of a mainstream sort of film attempt. I was looking at some stuff online, and apparently, I think his name's James Wan or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He wasn't impressed. He wasn't pleased that he was sort of backed into this corner, but went with it anyway. It's an okay film. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like the end of it, it really doesn't make any sense. Lila, my daughter, thought it was good fun. I actually recorded a couple of little bits of Lila's thoughts on the film, which we'll stick into the podcast. Possibly at this point here, we could just slot them in. So, what did you think?
It was good.
What was your favourite bit?
I don't know. I like Mr. Punch doing the weird dances and stuff, messing around.
And what about your favourite death?
It wasn't really a death, but one of the hitchhikers that went to go and steal.
When she got her head smashed into the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good film. What would you give it out of 10?
8.
8? Yeah, that's quite a high score. Cool. Okay, well, any other final words you want to say about that?
I like the film.
Awesome, there we go. We have it official. Best film ever made. Right, that'll do. That'll do, pig. So there we go, we finished Dead Silence. The film is finished. Lila watched it. Lila, what did you think of Dead Silence?
I like it, yeah.
Which do you prefer, Dolls or Dead Silence?
Dolls.
Yeah. What did you think of the end of Dead Silence?
I did like it. It was so abrupt. It was like, oh.
And anything that you would improve if you were to make this film?
I don't ever know when the theatre was burning, the effects?
Yeah, they looked shit. They looked really shit. But the rest of the film, what was your most favourite death in the whole film? Was it the one where a person had their face cut and their tongue gone?
Every single death.
Every death?
Yeah.
Oh. Out of 10, how many points would you give it?
6.
6? Okay. Well, that's the official score. Thanks, Lila.
Okay.
Then, not so much the horror genre. I watched Fisherman's Friends.
Oh God, that looks interesting. It looks like such a generic British movie, and not in a good way.
It was good. It did the job. It was one of those films you just put on, stick it in the background. It's got that nice Sunday afternoon feel. Somebody dies in it, so that's good.
Okay. Does it go all? I know what you did last summer.
It gets a little bit weird. So one of the older guys in it, he's doing a little song. He grabs hold of the microphone. He gets electrocuted and goes fucking flying across, like, in front of all of these people that are watching the show. And then one of the other guys, one of the members of the Fisherman Friends, just crouches over him and just starts peeing on his face. And I was like, I really didn't expect that. And
I've
then
seen films like that, but again, we go back to the adult section of VHS again now. So
yeah, that's it. I was really surprised. So he's sort of spluttering there, half conscious, with somebody that should really be one of his friends, just peeing all over his face, and he's just like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then to be honest, man, I was shocked, because then the rest of the band just bugger him.
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest, Karl, if we're ever in that situation in life and I'm getting electrocuted, I want you to pee all over me. And maybe even a poo as well.
I'll wait until the current stops before I do a pee or a poo on you, because I safety first, man.
Yeah, but it's how I want to go, mate. In fact, I insist now that's how I want to go.
Well, I'm over in September. We'll try and get that to happen.
Too damn right, man. We can make that. We'll put this live on a podcast. Maybe we get 40 views. Who knows then?
30 from you, 10 from me.
Well, when we get any views from me, I'll be fucking dead, mate.
40 from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much a quiet week. Yeah, not much other than that, man.
Cool, but interesting to just go back to dolls. Do you remember we used to do video edits back in the day?
Uh-huh.
And we used to edit videos together and just take a piss kind of extended cuts or just random cuts. I remember we did one for the Dolls credits, and it was like, for anyone who hasn't seen Dolls, fantastic, really good film, but it's a very short film. I think you're probably talking 72-minute runtime, maybe?
Yeah, come in, it was an hour and 17 minutes maximum, like.
And our cut probably went in for about 92 minutes, and about 20 minutes of that was just the opening credits. We would just edit the credits on loop.
Yeah, longest night in the world.
Yeah, part of me regrets never getting the actual proper video from the video shop and then just doing it onto the actual shop and video, just to confuse the fuck out of whoever rented it out.
You know, that's one thing I never thought of doing, that we could have done so much shit by just re-editing the films.
Anyone ever asks me on my deathbed, just before you start pissing and shitting on me, have you got any regrets in life? That'll be the one thing, just not doing the Dolls cut and put it into a proper video in a video shop.
And I'll be crying as I wee into your face going, me too, man, me too, because it is pretty clear you're going to die before me. It is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's set in stone, set in stone. Right, let's talk about these films that we watched then.
Okay, man.
I'll start off with Chopping Mall. So Mac picked the awesome film Chopping Mall for me, which I'd never ever seen before. So I'll just give a quick sort of talk over what the film's actually about. So it's set in the future of 1986. Film opens up with like a kind of a robbery situation going on in some shopping mall, and then it just comes at the end within like fucking 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, that's a good short film. Then it turns out it's a fucking ruse. It's a little advert just to showcase these awesome futuristic robots which make Johnny Five from the awesome film Short Circuit look I don't know, like he can fly into space and do all sorts of shit, man. Like these 3 robots, they're going to be put into a shopping mall and they're going to be looking after it, making sure no motherfuckers go stealing anything and just killing people. That's the whole thing for it. So anyway, there's a really random scene at the start where you've got these people that are watching the whole showcase and the event going on about the robots, and they look really confused, and they're dropping all of these really shitty little comments about, you know, how crap these robots are and maybe how they should be getting some of the robots to look after their businesses as well. Before we get into the guts of the movie, which is literally a bunch of kids dumped in a fucking shopping mall. They all want to do some fucking and stuff, and the robots go around and kill them one by one. They need to find a magical fucking computer terminal which got struck by lightning that very night, which made all the robots go crazy, and try and turn it off to stop the robots killing them. And yeah, that was pretty much the gist of the entire fucking film there. But it was actually really, really awesome. I'd never seen it before. So the effects in it are great. Nice, proper 1980s style effects. Soundtrack is fucking brilliant as well. Really, really enjoyed the soundtrack all the way through. We've got an exploding head, which is great. Someone gets shot in the fucking head with a laser and their head pops, which is great. Really, really cool. We've got a guy that lowers himself into a position so that a robot can gingerly pinch his neck and create quite a lot of blood as well, which is brilliant. We've got the guy that turns up in all of the films by the guy who did Gremlins. What's his name?
Dick Miller.
Dick Miller. He's in it.
Sorry to put you on a tangent, but I think, if you're not aware, Dick Miller died, I think it was last year. And I just want to say to Dick, you've got a bit stiff now, Dick. I just hope you're happy, because he was Joe Dante's favourite Dick, wasn't he? Because he was always in Joe Dante's films. And any chance he could get to put Dick on screen,
he always wanted to get Dick on camera. Always wanted to get Dick. Even on like kids' films and stuff, he was trying to get Dick.
Yeah, because even with Small Soldiers, Dick was there. There's quite a lot of Dick in Small Soldiers, I gotta be honest.
There is. He's in it. There is a lot of Dick in that film. I don't know
if you've ever seen Joe Dante's last film, The Hole.
No, I did.
Yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed that film, but there was only a little bit of Dick in that film. It was like a short-sighted Dick, and that was it.
Well, to be honest with you, you only wanted to get a bit of Dick in that hole.
Yeah, you don't need too much Dick in a hole.
He was just teasing. He was teasing with Dick.
Yeah, because a kid's hole, you don't want to have too much Dick in there, do you?
Oh, definitely
not. Things get awkward.
You want to be keeping that Dick away from the hole.
Oh, definitely.
That's it. But Dick, he ends up fucking electrocuted in a really fucking amazing scene which blew my mind, where he's mopping the floor. One of these kill bots comes along, gently fires what should be a fucking stun dart into Dick, but he misses, hits the floor. Dick gets all cocky and gets electrocuted. And what I loved about this scene is, right, he's laying on the floor after being electrocuted with smoke coming out of his face. And it immediately cuts into a scene with 2 teenagers in bed going, "Smoking's real bad." And I was like, oh, the irony. I actually had to go back, watch that scene again, because I wanted to see Dick getting electrocuted, smoke coming out of it. I was like, you fuckers. That is brilliant. So there was a couple of things which kind of annoyed me in the film, I've got to be honest. With a film that's obviously trying to be almost documentary-like in the future that we're going to have with supermarkets and stuff and these big super malls. So there's a few things. The robots themselves, they're very lucky that there's escalators. Really fucking lucky there's escalators, They're able to just traverse up and down around this supermarket. If the teenagers just turned off the escalators, no props. But they didn't think about that. They just didn't fucking think it through. Couple of other things, no titties. I was watching this film and there was no titties.
Oh,
seriously.
Do you watch a cut version then? Because the beautiful Barbara Crampton, she was in Reanimator, she's in lots of recording films. She gets those titties out, man.
Oh, what version have I been watching then?
She gets those titties right out.
I seen buttocks.
No,
I mean, like, seriously.
Sure, in fact, I'm almost sure Barbara Crampton gets those second breasts out. I'm a big fan of Barbara Crampton, as you'll probably find out in later episodes. I have a very big thing for her. Like, I'm obsessed with her.
Well,
And any chance of her getting her tits out, I'm on there, mate.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
In fact, she probably didn't. It's just I'm so obsessed with Barbara Crampton's tits. I just picture those tits out all the time, and I'm just
I was looking for titties, to be honest. I got distracted by looking for titties in this film, and I couldn't actually find any. I seen some nice buttocks. Like I said, they were nice, like a couple of buttock shots, and
were they male or female? Just to clarify.
I don't care, mate. I don't care.
Any buttocks?
They were just buttocks. They were buttocks. They were in a lacy pant. So I'd like to.
Were they Dick Miller's buttocks?
I wish they were.
Yeah.
I don't think they were, but I wish they were. But yeah, no. So there's that, and then so the whole film then is kind of focused around this kind of geeky guy who spends about 25 minutes, which I must also drop in at this point. This film is also coming in at about 115 minutes. It's a very, little film, or an hour and 15 minutes, I should say. Hour and 15 minutes. The film focuses around this geek guy who's trying to get it on with this girl, and he's like, the main hero and stuff. He gets fucking zapped later on, smacks his fucking head, blood pissing out of his head, and then at the very end of the film, he's holding a kitchen roll to the back of his head, and he's like, oh, I'm okay now. There's no way he's okay. The amount of blood that come out of his head, he's fucked. He's fucked. Like, he's retarded. Seriously. I mean, I don't know how he's just going around and chatting away to this woman. He's going to die that night. He's going to slip into a gentle stroke, never-ending sleep, and that's how the film should have ended. But no, we get him coming down, kitchen roll to the back of the head. He goes down to his girl. He gives her a little smooch, and everything's fucking great.
Because I recognised the actress as well, because she was the lead in Night of a Comet. You've never seen that one? Because I remember thinking, like, and don't really mean any disrespect to her. I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but she's not a looker, is she? To be fair, she's not Barbara Crampton's level.
Well, there's a lot of hair there.
Yeah, she's got personality. Let's just say that,
She hasn't got any friends though.
Yeah.
She hasn't got any friends. That's the main thing I took away from this film is she's got no friends.
Well, she's got 4 less now at the end of this film.
Well, that's it. I mean, some of the deaths. There's actually a scene where one of the people gets shot with a laser and it ricochets off them. Never explains why, and I don't know whether it's the special effects or if there's a story which we're not told where one of the friends is actually a cyborg, and at the end, after the credits, they come to life and they kill the geek and this woman. They just kill him, but we'll never know. Cheers.
No worries. Okay, now on to Hostel. I'm not a bigger fan of Hostel as you were, Choppy Moore. I didn't hate it, don't get me wrong. I thought it was just one of the most frustrating films I think I've ever seen. I'll go into more of that in more detail in a bit, but to give a background to anyone who hasn't seen it, it's made in 2005, or released in 2005, produced by Quentin Tarantino and written and directed by Eli Roth. And I did a bit of research into the story as well. And much like Cabin Fever was based on a true experience with Eli Roth, this was based on a story he'd heard about some Thai website which offered people money to go and shoot someone in the head. I think they were dying people or something, but whether it's an urban legend or not, most likely is. But that was the inspiration to Hostel with Eli Roth. And the film was set around 3 friends. And this is my main issue straight away with the film. They're just bad ends. They're not characters you root for. I always find with horror films, and especially films of this genre, you want the characters to survive. Or at least you want one of them to survive. You want them to do well. I was watching it, I was just thinking, oh, these guys are knobs. But then, as I was dwelling on it more, I just thought, actually, they're not knobs. I'd be exactly that type of person if I was in that situation. They go basically to Europe, backpacking around the country. It starts in Holland, and it's just the whole hedonism of Holland. They're just there watching sex shows, titties everywhere.
There's
just
a lot of titties.
A lot of titties, having a good time. And Eli Roth, he can be a good filmmaker. He knows what he's doing. It's just sometimes I think what's going on in his head doesn't quite match what's going on screen. But in this, I like some of the cinematography where when they're in Holland, everything is just so bright and clean. Yeah. And it's like a music video. It's just really polished. And but again, the characters, you're not really rooting for them. But it's basically the first half hour is just titties and these guys just being lads, effectively. So it's a bit of a slow start, and this is what I'm going to come back to later with one of my issues with the film. But then they meet some guy and he recommends them. I always get these two countries confused. Is it Slovakia or Slovenia? Slovakia. So he recommends they go there because the most beautiful women in the world were going to do anything. And like the idiots they are, they go there. More through them. It was actually filmed in Prague as well, just on a side note. But they make out it's Slovakia. And this is where it does get clever. Like the way it's shot then, it does look grimier, it does look grubbier, which is, I think, is intentional. There's a few little tidy Easter eggs in there as well. Like the hostel they stay in then, the room they're staying in is room 237, which I thought was good. Yeah, exactly. As soon as I saw that room number, I thought, that's clever.
Awesome.
And there's a couple of like references or homages to other films, like when he's following one of his friends, or what he thinks is his friend for reality. It's very "Don't Look Now" sort of. Yeah. So it's a lot of good, and he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But he just can't put it together sometimes. So I kind of gone on sidetrack then. So basically, one of her friends, they hook up with some gorgeous women at the hostel, and one of her friends goes missing. So they're trying to find him. Then another friend goes missing. He gets drugged at a club by the women, and then he ends up getting tortured. And to credit to I thought this was probably one of the film's most effective scenes. Is when he's coming back around, and he's got a hood on him, but you can see it from the point of view of the hood, so it's just like a circle for his eyes, and you see in all the tools on the table, and you think, "Fuck, that's quite effective." You don't know what's going on. You've just been drugged. You're waking up and you see that in front of you. I thought that's a really effective shot. And it's a bit of a strange thing, but I always find whistling in films quite sinister, especially horror films. I think it's a shrill, sharp note. So you've got the guy who's going to be doing the torturing. He's doing all this shrill whistling. It's quite a sort of jovial tune, but it's got that kind of sinister sound to it at the same time. And there's a great scene where even I went, ooh, and I'm sure you know which one it is, but it's the one with the foot when he just clips his ankle.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a nasty, chunky scene in the film to make me go ooh out loud.
Ankles and that it's a bad place to be fucking around with, like.
But so he goes missing. So then the other friend is trying to find him, and it's kind of there's going to be spoilers in this podcast, so just deal with it. But the other guy then eventually finds him, and then he escapes, which I'll go into in more detail in a bit. And then it just goes batshit crazy then. The whole tone shift, it goes very kind of farcical slapstick. And
I think he does that on purpose.
Yeah,
I mean, like Eli Roth does that. Yeah, I mean, it's like it goes black comedy about halfway through. When that shit happens.
I think it surpasses black comedy, where it just goes into like farcical. And he did the same with Cabin Fever to a point as well. Stuff's in there, and that's his choice. That's up to him. But to me, it just kind of, you could have had something really kind of audition-esque. But then he chose to go in a different direction. But it turns out, I think I watched the director's cut as well, or the alternative edits, because the version I watched was when the guy was the sole survivor at the end. He ends up kidnapping the daughter of the businessman who's killed his friend.
Yeah, that is the alternate cut.
Yeah, and it just bugged me as an ending, that one. It's just like, what's he going to do with her after? Is he just going to carry on with the rest of his life? Is he going to dump her off somewhere? What's he doing? Like, how is he didn't think that through. It's like, if you steal something from a shop, it's fine. If you steal anything from a train station. So
in the cut that you watched, does anything happen to, the main guy that they meet on the train at the start?
No.
All right, okay, yeah.
He watches as the daughter gets taken off, and that's kind of like more of a revenge for him than anything, because that's the only thing he loves. You can tell throughout the film, that's the only thing he takes pride in is his daughter, and that's been taken. But I did read online, and as I was researching it afterwards as well, that I think it was the proper cut, the theatrical cut, the businessman who's one who kills, is it Josh, the character? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Characters. He gets his throat slit in a bathroom or something.
Yeah, in a toilet.
Yeah, that's cool. But my main issue with the film is it's just the pacing of it. Like everything's so quick with the cuts or the build-up. It's just the tension gets cut too short. Like if you really drag it out and drag out the scene, so instead of going straight in with a thing, just make it last a minute. You know it's happening. Just make it go longer. The tension would be ranked up so high. And I think you could have trimmed the half-hour intro of just dicking around and tits everywhere. I like tits. I'm on team tits. Tits all the way. But I don't need half-hour of it in a film. You could have really added an extra 10-15 minutes of just building up tension in scenes. Make it a slow, like foreplay almost to the actual thing. Everything happens too quick. That's my own personal opinion. As I say, he's not a daft filmmaker. He knows what he's doing. But I just think he could have made it very audition-esque, very intense. He could have made it a really intense, slow film.
I think absolutely. I mean, the way that the film was marketed, even from the poster and stuff, was that it was going to be relentless, and it teases you that it's going to be that. I mean, you're watching it. Yeah, you mentioned about the ankle scene. I mean, for me, that's as graphic as it fucking gets in that film. The bit with the Japanese girl with her eye it's a fucking joke. Like, it's. I mean, you watch it and it's like gross out horror, whereas the ankle scene is like, oh, that's fucking nasty, like, and it's.
I did because to me that was the most effective scene for me, and it's like he's playing mind games with him as well. Because if you want to escape, just go and leave.
Yeah.
And he knows what's going to happen. It's
the whole over.
Now, for that, there's as much mental as physical torture to the guy, and if he just carried on in that vein, but just really slowed it down, just really played, just increase the sound effects, the sound editing was really effective.
Yeah.
The use of light was really good. It's just he could have really played on that. He could have really used that to his advantage and made this really like roller coaster where you just like, oh my god, and you really and you would have felt for the characters more, I think, if you did that as well. But it's just so quick in, do that. It's just lost that tension to me. And again, more spoiler alerts. It's when, and I can't remember the sole survivor's name, but when he's getting about to be done with a chainsaw and the guy falls and slips on his. It's quite a quick scene. Just really drag that out, and then you don't expect it to happen when it happens, and that's a big payoff. But that's my own personal choice. I mean, I'm not a filmmaker. It's I'm not to judge, and there are fans of a film out there who generally love it. So it's just one man's opinion.
I mean, I really don't mind Hostel so much, but I think it's more on the basis of the films that came after. The films that Eli Roth has done after. Hostel, I see as a bit of light entertainment. I think Hostel came at a time where we were being bombarded with really proper graphic stuff, like Hills of Eyes, the remake had come out and things like that. And I think Hostel was kind of like something a little bit lighter during that time, even though it was sort of marketed as being as graphic and as horrific as all of those films. It was just a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. You talked about Cabin Fever earlier. Like Cabin Fever, I love Cabin Fever, and I love, the silly absurdness of, the police officer, we ends up with a harmonica jammed in his throat and stuff like that. And I think Hostel was the same. And I do agree that's a bit of a problem with Eli Roth, because you do know that under that surface, somewhere in there is probably one of the most horrific fucking films ever. There's going to be something. And he did the same with fucking Green Inferno. Green Inferno, I got, like, I'd say about 75% of that film, and I was thinking, Jesus, I mean, this goes up there with Ferox and Holocaust. It was like one of the most graphic fucking cannibal films I've seen. And then he just goes and fucks it all up. It's like he kind of pulls that punch at the end and just kind of goes, oh, I think I'll take a step back here. And I think you're absolutely right with Hostel. He does pull that punch. He pulls that punch a few times, Yeah,
I think he's always too scared to go.
Yeah.
What's in his mind? Because I think I mentioned it earlier. I think I compared it to Audition, like the kitty scene at the end of Audition.
Yeah.
It's just cinema perfection.
It is.
And even to the point, and you can tell he's a fan as well, because Takashi Miike's got the cameo in Hostel as well.
Yeah.
But the kitty scene. This is what I was trying to get across earlier. Is like the whole build-up. It's about the foreplay. So she's not just going straight in and then going straight through a foot. It's the whole the sound. It's the slowness to it, and you're just fucking on edge, like.
Yep.
And it could have really done with a lot more of that. And I get, you need humour in horror. I think they go hand in hand a lot of the time. But just try and get that consistency, and perhaps it might have been a case where, I know I'm only speculating here, but it might have been a case that if he wanted to go full on, he would never got the film made for a Western audience. So perhaps he just thought he might have to put that too much of a humour in there, and I think he just might have gone a bit too bold with the humour.
Yeah.
But, I'm just speculating there. But
I don't know. I think we're in a much better place for this sort of shit now. Like, I think he could release something that's quite relentless these days and get away with it. But I think you're right. I think the whole time was actually like a Eli Roth kind of time of films where, people were pushing things to the edge, and film classification makes and breaks your film. It's like, how far are you going to push it? I think once you've been told that your film's going to be R-rated, you might as well just go, do you know what? Fuck it. Here we go. Let's just fucking get this out there. Like the Saw films. I personally love the Saw films. Your first film is great. I think it's cool. It's like a cheap version of Seven. They really play on it. The second film, they use the second film to test the water. And then the third film onwards, they just go, do you know what? Fuck it. We're an 18 rated. We're going to be sick as fuck. And let's go, Yeah,
and do you know what I love about the Saw films? Okay, they're not the best films in the world, but I love the continuity between each one.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's like watching a TV series, like a box set.
Yeah.
They just melds perfectly from start to finish together, and the throwbacks even on the I haven't seen, like, they did another comeback one, didn't they, recently, but I didn't see that one. But I watched Final Chapter, and the throwbacks and the callbacks to the first one with Carrie Elwes and stuff like that. And the first Saw is, hands down, in my opinion, the best. Okay. I think we've done quite a long section on this, actually.
Yeah, we have. We've done a very long section. So let's jump in then. Let's do the awful question.
Okay.
And you know what, mate? I could very easily get my question wrong because my memory's like a fucking sieve. But you want to ask the first question?
Sure thing, mate. Okay, so in Shopping Mall, how many robots were there?
Ah, shit, man. So I remember 3.
Oh, you motherfucker. Yeah, there's a few robots. Yeah. But, okay.
Cool. So I've actually got something that's possibly a little bit easier for you here. So in Hostel, there's the bit at the start. So they're all on the train. The lads are all on the train.
Yeah.
Starting their holiday and everything. And the creepy guy, he's sitting in the carriage with them.
Yeah.
And if you can remember, he's got like a little punnet of salad.
That's right, because they're all grossed out because he's eating with his hand.
Yeah, just eating with his fingers, and he says, it's a really primitive thing. So how many calories are in the Tesco crunchy salad yesterday?
What the fuck? Fucking questions out.
How many calories are in the Tesco crunchy salad?
What the fuck am I supposed to know that? I don't know. I don't know how calories work. You've seen the shape of me. I don't know how fucking calories work. I'm gonna go 800. Is that a thing?
No, it's completely off, mate.
Oh.
Completely off. It's actually 62 calories. I'd say that most people would have known that, to be honest, man.
Shit, I feel quite stupid. Oh, for fuck.
Okay, so looks like penalty.
Right. Okay, so it's gonna be that fucking scorpion shit. So I'm gonna get this bottle of beer open because I'm probably gonna have to have quite a bit of a liquid refreshment.
I can't believe you got it wrong, to be honest, mate. I actually genuinely thought that was an easier question. The number of robots that were in
calories. Calorie motherfucker.
There we go. Just getting yourself a delicious spoon there, yeah?
No, I'm just getting a pork scratching.
Oh, nice. Top that up.
Yeah. Oh,
that's good.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Have you topped it up?
Can you see the...
Yeah, I can see a little blob there. So people that are listening there, Mac has got a delicious pork scratching topped up with a rich sauce. Okay, there you go.
Here we go.
There you go. Have a little taste of that.
Here we go.
Scoop.
Bottoms up.
On the hatch. Have a little taste. How's that? That's it, crunching it up there. So far, we're all good. He's enjoying that. Yeah, he's shaking his head. I'm not sure whether he is enjoying it. What's the flavour?
Fuck, no.
What's the flavour? Lava? Acid?
Fucking hell.
Spicy?
Yeah.
Why are you crying?
I'm not emotional.
So
Fucking calories.
so emotional.
Jesus fuck.
How many calories are in that sauce, do you reckon?
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, Jesus. Tongue's on fire, man.
Nice. Perfect. Right, let's move on to Offal
God,
Royale.
fucking seed. Oh. Fuck.
I'll do a little Offal Royale song whilst you drink that. So we got the Offal Royale coming up. Offal Royale, Offal Royale. Pick a fucking film. Mac picks a film. Carl picks a film. They go up against one another.
My guitar solo, yeah, man.
That was
fucking
nice.
dying, man.
Felt like a painful solo.
Oh, fucking hell.
Right. So, Offal Royale. Whilst Mac has got his spicy mouth, I reckon it would be the perfect time for him to explain the rules for the Offal Royale.
Cheers, buddy. Right, so what we're going to do is... I'm going to use my hair just to wipe my tears a sec.
Try those eyes.
Fucking calories. So, we're going to pick a film each. We've pre-picked 7 films. I'm going to draw one at random each of our own films. So we're going to pick one film out each. Jesus fucking Christ. And we're just going to pitch it to you, the listeners, as to why this is the best fucking film ever. Right. It might not even be the best film ever, but we're pitching it like it is. And
I reckon we should limit the amount of time we've got for pitching the film.
Yeah, definitely. We'll work it out on as we do it.
We'll work it out.
Yeah, we just wing it. Oh, pardon me. And it's down to you, the listeners, then, on our social media page on Facebook. We'll have these 2 films up for a limited time, and we'll create a poll, and based purely on our pitch, not how you think the film is, just on our pitch alone. You will be voting on which film you think wins just by clicking it on a poll. And the one with the most wins, or most votes, by the time of the next podcast, is declared the winner. And we'll be doing 7 of these throughout the series. And I'm fucking dying, man.
Your face looks so juicy.
Oh, Jesus. I think even my tears are popping. And come the end of the series, whoever wins gets a trophy made up. Whoever loses gets another forfeit. It's probably even going to be worse than a fucking chilly one. Who knows? Oh, fucking no calories involved on that fucker.
Okay.
So, Carl, you going to pick up yours first? Do you want to pick your first film?
Okay, so I've got my films in a pair of my boxer shorts here. Let's have a little look. So, let's just randomly see what...
Just stop you. 2 secs.
Hang on. I'm going to pop them back in. I think Mac's going to go and... he's going to go and be sick or something. He's being... Oh, actually, I really need a pee. Stephen. Okay, I'm going to take a film from my underpants. Okay, what have we got? Oh, for fuck's sake. House by the Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the film's about.
I've seen it, and I still don't know what it's about. Okay, so I'm going to do mine now. Like Carl, I'm picking from my underwear as well. Unfortunately, I'm still wearing mine, so after trying to put out any pubes as well, it's going to be quite sweaty.
Mac, have they been in there for the entire show?
Oh, yeah. Everything's dripping.
How do they smell?
Oh, I've already started puking up once. I'm not going to smell it again. Not with my gag reflex. You know how bad my gag reflex is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got Reanimator.
Well, you go first, man. So we got House by the Cemetery versus Reanimator.
Here we go. Offal Royale. It's on round one.
Let's
go. Reanimator, directed by Stuart Gordon, and 1985. Just check my notes there. Reanimator is one of those.
You got notes and everything.
It says Reanimator 1985. That's my notes. But it's the most batshit crazy film I think you'll ever see. It's just a roller coaster ride of just madness. Jeffrey Combs plays Dr. Herbert West, and is one of the greatest horror performances ever fucking on screen. He just runs with it, man. But even better than that, you've got a fucking decapitated head giving oral sex to a naked Barbara Crampton. You don't need anything else on cinema other than that. It's one of those
set the bar pretty fucking high.
It's fucking bonkers. It's a batshit film. It really is. But you know, it's not all about, you know, it's not a sexist film. You got Barbara Crampton naked, but you've also got her dad naked as well, getting his pasty butt cheeks out as well. So it's something for the ladies there as well. But it delivers on all sorts of levels. It's fucking the gore levels on it are fucking insane. It's just the whole how they must have pitched that film, bringing back fucking bodies from the death type thing back to alive, and then fucking naked fucking women getting sucked out or eaten out by fucking guys with no head. It's for everyone involved. It's just they just know what it is. They're fucking having fun with it. They're just playing it so fucking pantomime on it as well. And I would probably say as well, Stuart Gordon is one of the most underrated directors fucking out there. We say Reanimator, Dolls, The Beyond. He's the master of the master of his game. And here, he just fucking runs. He's fucking wild. It's like a vaudeville film. It's for the fucking humour, the gore, the sex. Fucking everything is just thrown in. Fucking see what sticks to the walls. If it doesn't work, fuck it. We'll try something else. I can go into fucking the film. Fucking naked pasty people. Fucking naked gorgeous people. Fucking science experiments gone wrong. Fucking dead cats. It's fucking all in there, man. It's fucking a great soundtrack as well, which sounds like a ripped off version of Psycho. But fuck it, it's fucking awesome. It's a great soundtrack. Based by a book by H.P. Lovecraft, which I'm guessing it's got nothing at all to do with fucking H.P. Lovecraft. It's just fucking out there, man. It's the greatest film ever. Well, I say greatest film ever. It's got to be up there. It really is, as far as horror is concerned. And it's spawned 2 fucking even bonkers sequels as well. Fucking amazing film.
Go nice. That was a good pitch. Well, House by the Cemetery is by Lucio Fulci, and it had no fucking sequels, but it was part of a trilogy of films which were better than Reanimator. Way fucking better. Right? You've got a little blonde kid whose voice doesn't match his face whatsoever. If you're looking for a film, which everyone fucking is, where there's a little blonde kid with a basin haircut that gets his head rammed into concrete at the end of the film and fucking stuffed in and killed by a fucking zombie doctor. Yeah, this is the fucking film for you. You've got an estate agent that gets stabbed 4 times in the titties. Yeah, right in the fucking titties. Through her fucking lungs, through her fucking throat, right through her fucking titties, blood spraying everywhere. You got a little boy who gets covered in blood because his dad gets bitten by a rubber bat. It's supposed to be a real bat, but it's very fucking rubbery. But his dad gets bitten right in the hand, blood sprayed all over the little kid's face. He's there going, "Daddy, my face!" Fucking blood all over it and stuff. You've got the babysitter whose head gets fucking chewed off, falls down some stairs, goes bouncing down straight into the little boy. This film here, right, if you're looking for little boys, is perfect. And I know a lot of people are looking for little boys in their horror films. But on top of that, I actually don't know what's going on in the fucking film. Like, seriously, the little boy, he's with his dad and his mum. It kind of appears that the dad has been to this spooky house before that they decide to move into. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. They go there. There's a zombie with a tombstone built into the staircase of the actual house. He comes popping out. His name's Dr. Freudstein. He gets pieces of body, sews them all together, creates his own little zombies. To be honest with you, I'd go Reanimator. This film makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So we'll all go with Reanimator on this one.
I will say this, though. I'm going to start pitching for you instead. I'm going to do a double turn now. As I said, she's got a fucking killer soundtrack, though.
It has got a good soundtrack. But then I always get him mixed up with the Beyond, which is fucking way better. And I wish I went with the Beyond because I could describe that film much more clearly. Because whenever I think I'm thinking of a cool scene from House by the Cemetery, it's not House by the Cemetery. It's the Beyond that I'm thinking of.
Isn't there like a ghost girl or something in Cemetery?
So yeah, so House by the Cemetery, you've got a little ghost girl who's the granddaughter of the Freudstein frickin' zombie doctor that's living in the basement. That's not always in the basement, but appears sometimes in the basement, but not always. And she talks to this boy. His name's Billy, and she holds his hand at the end after he's had his head rammed through some concrete and walks along, and you get like this really cool quote from Lucio Fulci going, "Are children monsters or are monsters children?" And I'm like, what are you on about, Fulci? Yeah. What are you on about? So, and that's my pitch there. At the end of the day, what are you on about, Fulci? What are you on about?
Fulci sometimes just gets lost in his own world, doesn't he? You know, it's
I think what I love about Fulci is, and the same with House by the Cemetery, right? Like all of us, you're sitting there, you're scratching your balls, and you've got some really good ideas for some gore scenes. You've got some really good ideas for a horror film. They're not entirely linear in any way whatsoever. And Fulci, he had a team that were there ready to back him up 100% to go, listen, man, what you're talking about there is fucking mental, but we've got no problems filming that. Let's just film that shit, and then let's see if we can make it into a film. And Fulci's there, and he's like, "Ay caramba, bra 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 bra," because is that Spanish? But anyway, he's there, and he's like, "Mamma mia, that's a spicy film."
Motherfucker.
Yeah, that's it. And he's like, "I want to get a little boy, and he go get a blood in his face." And I'm like, that is a fucking great idea. His team were behind him all the way, and House by the Cemetery was made. And now I'm going to go back on myself and say, yeah, it's a much more superior zombie film than Reanimator. Stabs in the titties.
I think stabs in the titties are all good.
Everyone
loves a good stab in the titty.
Yeah, there's a lot. I would
say this as well with Reanimator. I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays the bad doctor, who's not fucked up. He's a bit more fucked up than Herbert West, but because he's a bit more fucked up, he's still a bad doctor. Actually, the film cost him his marriage. That's fucking commitment. That scene where he when he went down on Captain cost him his marriage.
Yeah,
that's commitment. Did that little boy fucking lose a marriage because of her?
No, but the little boy actually died in real life, and at the end is the only ever confirmed footage of a real ghost boy at the end of that film.
This is how much of a sacrifice Reanimator was. The guy who has his head cut off and starts eating out the girl. That was real. They actually did decapitate him.
Yeah,
he was a method actor, and he was actually decapitated, eating out Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, but Barbara Crampton's vagina, that was a stunt vagina. And it was actually Jeffrey Combs' anus.
It was, and they did some good makeup effects on that to make it look vagina-esque.
Like a sexy vagina.
The doctor's like, I'm method, I don't care. I know it's Jeffrey Combs' ass. I'm going to be licking that thing anyway, because that's that method. And his wife's like, why'd you do that for, you idiot? I'm going to leave you now.
The actual little boy that's in House by the Cemetery was played by Lucio Fulci. So he actually slotted sandals onto his knees, right? Had his arms cut off at the elbows and gloves inserted, and was actually pretending to be the little boy for the entire film. And at the end of the film, he was executed.
The cat in Reanimator, which gets crushed and just basically fucking mutilated, was played by Sean Penn.
Nice. Well, the actual house, the actual house that's used in House by the Cemetery was Lucio Fulci's wife, and the whole film was shot inside her ribcage. Oh, right, there you go. Yeah.
Barbara Crampton's vagina was shot on a soundstage in Pinewood Studios, and was actually used afterwards as the Death Star from Star Wars.
Nice. The actual cemetery that was used in House by the Cemetery wasn't really a cemetery. It was my dad's head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was actually my dad's head. We had an Italian crew that were in the house shooting loads of scenes on my dad's head. And now this is explaining why that was happening.
There you go. So that's Offal Royale, basically. So... yeah.
you just pick from them pitches, yeah?
Yeah.
And make the right choice.
Make the right choice.
House by the Cemetery.
Reanimator.
House by the Cemetery.
So, okay, so I think that's it for another show. But we're going to choose a film for next week's discussion, Carl?
So for the next show's discussion, Mac, I'm going to leave it with you. We're not going to go down the path of two films. We'll pick one film that we'll both watch and discuss. What are we watching, Mac?
Okay, so this is an 80s classic action film. We don't want it to be all about horror on movie Offal. We want it to. It's all about the VHS classics. So there's obviously a lot of other genres than horror out there on VHS. So I'm going to choose an 80s Canon video classic with the action superstar sensation that was Michael Dudikoff. And there's a film called Avenging Force.
Nice.
It's a precursor to Hard Target. A lot of fun. Some very surprising elements to it as well, which I won't say too much now, but it does go in different directions you don't expect it to. It's quite a brave film as well. So, yeah, we'll go with that, mate.
Cool. That sounds brilliant. So that's going to be the next film we're going to watch. Anything else you want to say before we finish up, Mac?
No, but I will say as well, use our social media page. If you want us to do any shout-outs, any requests, any fucking thing at all, we're game for anything. Just leave comments on our page. We'll do whatever you want us to. Anything.
We are literally whores.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening. I've been Karl and
I've been Mac. I don't even know what I am anymore. That fucking who just destroyed me.
And like Mac said, hit our social media page. Just search for Movie Offal. Literally, guys, if you type in Movie Offal on Google now, you find all sorts of terrible shit. We've got a website as well, themovieoffal.wordpress.com, and you'll be able to check out some of our updates and bits and pieces. Thanks very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. We do appreciate listeners. All 30 of you.
All 30. Well, that's just you though, isn't it, Mac?
Yeah, it's me, basically.
Mac, I appreciate you listening.
It's like a beautiful mind. I'm just creating all these different characters to fucking listen to.
It all counts, man.
It all counts.
Cool. Right. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Movie Offal.